What's happening, everybody? Boy Big Brando, and today let's talk about pricing again. Now, have you ever been in a conversation where maybe you're talking to your brother or maybe a close friend or anybody about your business? Then you start talking about, my profit margins look like this. This is a business I'm trying to get into, or this is the business that I'm in. It costs me X amount of dollars for blank t-shirts. It costs me X amount of dollars for vinyl. So I can make the shirt for like $5 or $6. And then I charge the customer like $15 or $18 and blah, blah, blah. And like I said, these are loose conversations that you usually have with friends and family and stuff like that when they're asking about your business. And this happens to everybody. I know there's people gonna be like, nah, I never talk numbers with anybody, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. That's how you operate. There's a lot of people that are just starting out and kind of fall into this mistake. So that's who this video is geared towards. So if you're talking numbers with somebody, right, and you tell them, what it costs for you to make a shirt and what it costs to do certain things, not necessarily selling them on your service, but just explaining how your business works and how you make money. Now that person turns around and says, hey man, can you make me some shirts? You said it costs you $5. Cool. They're thinking it's gonna cost them $5 for you to make the shirt, right? Because they heard you say, I buy blank t-shirts for this, I buy vinyl for this, it costs me $5 to make. What they're not listening to, and this might just be selective hearing, but what they're not hearing is where the profit comes in. You know what I mean? How long it takes for you to make the shirt, why you charge 15, 18, 20, whatever dollars you charge for the t-shirt. They're just thinking my homie or my brother or whoever has this business and it costs him $5 to make the shirt, so now I get the shirt for $5. But that's not how this shit works. Now I say this and I bring this up to you guys because I personally share this information with the world. I'm on YouTube talking about me buying blank t-shirts for $2.50 or $3 a piece, me buying some transfers for X amount of dollars, ganging up designs, cutting my costs, increasing my profit margins. You guys hear me talk about this all the time. The reason I share this information with you guys is because this is how I run my business. Potentially you could run your business the same, have these same exact profit margins that I do. These videos are made for you guys to do it yourself. These videos are not for me to promote my services, for me to potentially get new clients or customers out of you guys. I do not see you guys as customers or clients. That's why I've never made any brands that I'm selling to you guys. I've never made merch for you guys to buy up until the complaint department. And the only reason I did that stuff for the complaint department is basically because people said they wanted to buy t-shirts with my designs on it, because I never promote any of my brands on this channel, because you guys that watch this shit are not my target audience. I'm basically showing you guys the inner workings on how I run my business so you guys can do the same exact thing. I talk numbers so you guys have a better idea on where you guys can profit off. Saying all that, I've got a lot of people that hit me up. It was like, hey man, I don't got equipment. I don't want to buy equipment yet. I'm still saving up for equipment. Can you press some shirts for me? I'm like, you know what? I really don't do that. And they're like, you talk about it costs you $3 to make that shirt. Can I get that same deal? And I'm like, wait, what? Same deal for what? Yeah, you said, it costs you $3 to make this shirt. When you break down the transfers and you gang them up and you do all this, you buy shirts for $2.50 and then the print only costs 25 cents to 50 cents. Can I get that same deal? I want to place an order for 36 shirts or 50 shirts or whatever it is. And I'm like, nah, man, that's not how the shit works, because you're asking me to give you my price of what it costs to make something. Who's paying for my labor? Who's paying for me to design the shit? Who's paying for me to cut these transfers out? Who's paying me to press these shits up? You're basically saying you want me to work for you for free because you like the way my numbers sound. This information is based around you doing it yourself. This information is how I do things, so potentially you could do the same thing. You can get these same profit margins if you did the shit yourself. That's what it is. It's not for me to sell my service like, hey man, it cost me $3 to make the shirt, I'll make $3 shirts for everybody. Nah, that's not how the shit works. My labor has to be built into that price that I give to the client or the customer. The client or the customer is never really supposed to see or hear my actual numbers, because that's just how business works. But the reason I make these videos is so you guys could do the same thing that I'm doing. Is this the only way to operate? No, it's not. You could do whatever you want. You could screen print, you could DTG, you could DTF, you could DT, whatever, man. As long as you're doing something for your own business that's profitable for you, that's all that matters. This is what's profitable for me. There's always people in my comments and they're like, hey man, you should get into DTF. You should get into this. Why are you buying transfers when you could do this? I buy transfers and I do what I do because this is what works for myself. I don't need to operate the way that you do because the way I operate works perfect for myself. It's like when People get into new music, right? People try their hardest to explain to you that they've been listening to this new artist that you just found out about like years ago. Like, oh man, I've been listening to him since he was in fucking middle school, just to prove a point that they've been onto something before you and that they put you on. For some reason, people are just like that. They always want to be the person that wants to put somebody on for whatever it is. You know what I mean? So a lot of times people get in my comments and I'm like, hey man, you should get into DTF because this, and this. And I'm like, that's cool. If that's how you operate and that's what works for you, cool. I appreciate you for sharing the knowledge or whatever it is, but you don't have to convince me on why that's a better option for myself, because you obviously don't know how I operate my own business. If that works for you, cool. The reason I make these videos is because this is what works for me. Hopefully it'll work for somebody else. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys that jump in the comments and complain about shit, or they're like, oh man, why you buying transfers from here? Why are you doing it this way? Why don't you just do it this way? Motherfucker, make a YouTube channel and share the information on how you start your business and run your business. And then you'd be doing the same exact thing that I'm doing, because this is what works for myself. So I want to share it with people to potentially better somebody else's situation. This is not the only way to run your business. It's not the only way to operate. This is just what works for me. So that's why you guys hear me talk about numbers. That's why you guys hear me break shit down, do wash tests, do all this other crazy shit, because I'm trying to relay the information to you guys. I don't think that any of my viewers are potential customers or clients. I'm not trying to sell my services to nobody. I'm not trying to get business from nobody. I'm basically sharing the information that works for me. So hopefully it'll work for you. There's a shitload of other YouTubers out there that you could watch that do either something similar to what I do or something way different than what I do. Watch them all. That way you can pick and choose whose workflow you like. Oh, I like the way he does this. I like the transfers that he uses. Oh shit, I want to get into DTG or DTF or whatever it is because this guy's doing it. Do all that shit. Get the information from everybody. You have access to information from every other person that's running a business and creating content to show you guys what they're doing, so then potentially you could be doing the same exact thing. So just because you hear me talk numbers does not mean that that's the deal that you're gonna get. When you hear me talk numbers, that's so you can do this shit for yourself. Hopefully this helped somebody out. Hopefully this cleared something up for somebody. But I appreciate everybody that watches these videos. I appreciate all the new viewers I'm getting too. It's cool as shit, man. If you got any questions, you can always leave it in the comments or hit me up on Instagram, Big Brando TV. It's always best to leave stuff in the comments. Do not DM me. It's easier to just leave it in the comments on Instagram or here. There's no question that's a dumb question. Shit's never personal where you have to put it in a DM. If you're not sharing like social security numbers and shit like that, nothing is fucking that personal. You know what I mean? If it's a question about business, it's a question about transfers or heat presses or whatever it is, always leave it in the comments, man. All right? Catch you guys on the next one, man. Yep.